In section 6.4, we'll look at equations and how to solve them if they have fractions in them. Well, most students don't like fractions, so we're going to figure out a way how to get rid of those fractions. So the question is, how do we get rid of fractions? Well, remember that fractions, the little bar, means that you're dividing by something. So how do you get rid of division? We're going to get rid of it by multiplying by something. The question is, by what? So, well, we may have multiple fractions with different denominators. What do we usually do when we have different denominators? We find a common denominator. So that's what we're going to multiply each and every piece by when we're trying to get rid of our fractions when we have an equation. We're going to multiply everything by an LCD, a common denominator. So let's see how this works. It should look like magic. The denominator should just disappear once I multiply by a common denominator on both sides of an equation. So let's look at this first equation. We have 4y over 3 minus 16 equals y over 3 minus 10. We did problems just like this back on the first test, back I think in chapter 1. So, well, the question is, what's the common denominator here? Well, our denominator is just 3 on both, so our common denominator, or LCD, will be 3. So we're going to multiply each and every piece on both sides by a 3. So what that will do is on this first piece, because we're multiplying the top by a 3, when you multiply by a 3, the 2 3s will cancel, leaving you with just the 4y. Minus, well, we also had to multiply the 16 by 3. Nothing cancels because there was no denominator there. So that will get us a 48 equals, keep going. On the next piece, we multiply by 3 to hopefully get rid of this fraction, and it does because then there'll be a 3 on top that will cancel out with the 3 on the bottom. Well, that just leaves us with a y for that entire piece, minus the last piece, the 10 got multiplied by a 3, so that just gives us a 30. Notice, like magic, all the fractions are gone. So now you can just solve it normally. Well, how do we solve this normally? First, we want to get the y's on the same side. So the easiest y to move is the y that's by itself over here on the right-hand side. We'll move it by subtracting a y on both sides. So that will give us a 3y on the left-hand side. We also want to get all the numbers on the other side of the equation. So my hope would be that I can move the negative 48 over to the other side. How will I do that? I'll add a 48 to both sides. So that will now give me, well, negative 30 plus 48 will give me an 18. So right now what that leaves me with is the equation 3y equals 18. Well, how do I solve that equation? Well, that we can just solve by dividing both sides by 3, which will get me the solution y equals 6. So that's my final answer. Y equals 6.